What's going on, everybody? Wayne's Workshop here, and today I have this little Genji helmet right here, and Dremel was nice enough to send me some tools to try out. And what Dremel is known most for are, of course, the rotary tools. Every cosplayer probably owns a rotary tool, or a multi-tool as they're also called, but a lot of people still call them Dremel. Just any brand, just for the sake of ease, is called a Dremel, kind of like a Bondo is called Bondo, but it's actually polyester putty, but everybody calls it Bondo. It's just one of those words that kind of made its way through it, and everybody just calls it a Dremel. But the brand Dremel actually offers way more than just rotary tools. They also offer even like these little burners, and I'll show you how even fire can play a role into smoothing some edges. They have hot glue guns, they have soldering irons, they have several rotary tools, of course. So in this video I'm just going to show you how I'm going to use some of these tools to make this sharp edge into a more rounded edge and some detail pieces, and even how to solder up some LEDs with a wireless gas soldering iron, and to light up this visor. So let's get to it. So the first one is the wireless Dremel 8220. It is a wireless rotary tool, comes with a battery, also has a spare battery and a charger. It just goes in like this. You have, like any Dremel, the adjustable speeds and the on and off. It has a whole lot of power. What's nice about this is, of course, it's wireless, but it also has a front grip, and you can hold it like in a more flat base instead of just holding it here, because the battery does take up some space, so this base is a little bit more wide. So if you're not really comfortable in holding it like this, they added the foregrip, so you still have a nice firm grip in the front and just a different way of holding it. So the first, for the ease of this video, the several tips that I'll be using, I've spread out over the other rotary tool versions I have. So for the first one, I have the little sanding drum. This is the smaller one right here. I've put it on, and this is the most common one used. It's just a little sanding drum that's on it. It's just a piece of sandpaper basically wrapped in a coil, and we can use that to smooth these edges. So I'll have it on maximum and turning it on, and I'll just go over this line right here in getting this sharp edge into a more round edge. And you also want to always travel in the way the Dremel is rotating, so it rotates to the right when I'm holding it facing like this for me. So I'll be going at this from left to right. If I go the other side, you run the risk of digging into your foam, and then you just have a big hole in it, and you don't want that. Before I start, safety first. Dremel was nice enough to send me this safety kit they have, and it includes gloves, a little breather mask, and some safety goggles, because foam bits will be flying everywhere, so I'll be wearing this right now. I will say my head is a little bit too big and this is really tight, but hey, safety first. So what I did now is use this heavy grit sanding drum to remove a large piece of foam and to make it all round. It's not fully smooth yet, it's not fully round yet, but this is just to get away a lot of the most of the foam that goes into a sharp corner. So you can use this one, the wireless one, you can also, what they also offer is the Dremel 3000. Comes with a flexible shaft, so you can actually hang this up on a hook and just have this flexible shaft right here. Same as the other one, it has several speeds. You can put every attachment on here that you want. You can even put the sanding drum on this and you can get the same effect. This Dremel is strong enough to eat away large chunks of foam. But for now, what I'm going to use this one for is I have this. So I've put on this little stone bit right here. As you can see, this one is pretty worn out, but I like the worn out ones. It provides a really smooth texture on the foam. So this was a brown stone tip at one point. Now it's like black because of all the foam gunk that's in there, but that is beneficial. So keep your worn out stone bits if you're working with a lot of foam. So what I'll use this one for is just to smooth out some of that more rough texture that the sanding drum left behind. Now it went from really sharp and we went from sharp to more rounded but coarse. Now we've smoothed out a lot of the roughness away, but there's still some fuzz going on. So I'll show you another different tool, and that is this little guy right here. This is the Dremel Styler Plus. I've never had this one before. The Dremel 3000 I already owned for a long time, used it a lot, I really like it. But Dremel came out with this little, more of like a Dremel but in a sort of pen form. You can also hold it like a pen. It has like a little indentation here to keep your finger. The power button is right there. There's also the little wheel to set the speed. It quite has some power to it. I will say I've tried to put the sanding drum on this and it does have a hard time eating away large chunks of foam. You could still do it, but it will take you a little bit longer because of its size. It also has some limitation in strength, but what I will say, it's good for engraving and good for smoothing out little pieces. And what I'm going to do with this one now is I have a fresh bit on here. I'm going to remove that last little bit of fuzz and then we'll move on to some other tools. And what's nice about this one is it's super light. It weighs next to nothing, so you have like a really light touch where you can remove a lot of that fuzz. Where I do it in bits with the other one, I'm really comfortable with just going all in one go with this one, because I know this one is not strong enough to suddenly eat in my foam. So you can be a little bit more rough with this also, because the device just lacks the power to really damage your work. And that is a plus when you really want to smooth out those round edges and remove the fuzz. We'll go to the other side. And what you could also technically do is this edge right here is still sharp, and if you just want to round it out a little bit, a stone bit should be more than plentiful to just round that out, just get that sharpness away a little. And I'm just using the stone bit for this, just to create a little bit more of a soft edge instead of that sharp cut you had with the knife. We can do that on the other side too, just to have it in symmetry. And you can do this with all the edges, of course, because in some edges you want to just have a little bit more of a rounded shape, or for example on this one you want that sharp edge to really be way more round instead of this soft edge right here. Turn that one off. So what you will always have, no matter how much you will sand this, you can go over this with a piece of sandpaper and hand sand it, you will always get some fuzz. I don't know if the fuzz will capture on camera. I don't know if my camera is good enough to capture all that, but you'll always get some fuzz, and even though you will seal it and fill it up some, you will always kind of see a little bit. You can still minimize that by using the Dremel Torch. This is just a little torch, has a safety lock on there and a locking system, so now it's locked. And I'm just holding it at the base. It has also a regulator and what kind of flame you want from it. But I'll put it on sharp, put it on max. And this can also be used for sealing your foam. It really does a way better job at it than a heat gun, but you have to be comfortable with using actual fire. But what this is really good for is just hitting those rounded edges that you just did, and it will just eat up that little bit of peach fuzz of foam that's everywhere. And it only requires a few hits. So what I'll do is I'll start here and I'll move up to here, and it goes really fast, and that's all that's needed. So I'll just go like this, and it's done on this side. Going like that, and it's done on that side, a little bit here, and that's done. Like I said, you could use it to heat seal your foam. What I would recommend is not using the burner setting, but use this little wheel on an actual normal flame instead of this, because this is really sharp, and if you hold it in one place for a little bit too long, your foam will burn. So use with caution. It is nice. If you feel comfortable using this, I definitely recommend it. And if you're not comfortable, then just use a heat gun. And this is the close-up shot. And it's really round now with barely any fuzz or gaps or anything. Just a nice rounded piece. Also here on the bottom. And you can do this, of course, for the entire helmet and on all of your edges. Now this is the Dremel Versa tip. It comes in a nice tin can sort of thing. Comes with a lot of different stuff. You got the main gas soldering iron. You got some solder, protective cover, in case it's, hot and you want to store it already, just put that over. And a couple of attachments. This one is really nice. You can make your soldering iron into a hot knife, really handy, and some other attachments to heat up some stuff like shrink tube, and shrink it like that, cleaning sponge, and it works by filling it up here, much like any normal lighter, with just a standard can of butane gas. Just punch it in and fill it up. You can actually feel the handle getting cold, and it will start to sputter now. Now it's full. And then this is this child safety lock. You flip that up. Now you can see it starts to glow. If I let it go, it turns off. If you want to let it stay on, you do it again and lock it. And now you can let go and it will stay on. And this one, much like the little burner, you can set the heat. Now you can see it's a little bit low, and now it's on high. So now we can start soldering up a 9-volt connector to that LED strip. So I'm just gonna hit it with some solder and then solder the positive wire to there and the negative wire to the negative. And I use this to make all my smoke machines. It's really handy just to have a wireless soldering iron so you don't get all the wires entangled while you're working. Then just a 9-volt battery, and there we go. It's working. And now to attach this into the Genji helmet, I'm going to use the Dremel high temp hot glue gun. What's great about the Dremel hot glue gun is that it uses high temp glue sticks. It has a melting point of about 200 degrees compared to these standard cheap low temp hot glue sticks. I believe these already melt, have a full melting point of 60 degrees Celsius, and in warm weather, if you're wearing a suit at a convention and it's a really hot day, these can already get like weak, not fully melted, but weak enough that parts are letting go. You won't have that problem with the high temp sticks. And what's also great, this has been on for about an hour now, and it doesn't leak as is the case with cheaper hot glue guns. Your desk just becomes this whole mess of hot glue. This one is already owned by me. This one was not sent to me by Dremel. I already had this for a long time. As you can see, it's been worn out and dusty and really messy, and I use it a lot, and it still does not leak. So really nice feature in here. So I got the Genji Helm right here with the LED strip, and what I'm going to do is first secure it in place by just dropping a little droplet of that hot glue in there, and just push that LED strip down. And one trick you can do is use some air duster upside down, so you kind of put a blast of frost in there, and that will re-solidify that hot glue much quicker. I can already let go. I'm just gonna let that cool down for a little sec and then secure the rest in place. Alright, so time to glue up the rest. Let's line it up and see where I have to glue. It's right there. Just put a dot. Just hold for a sec and blast it. And that will not come loose. So you can go as heavy on this as you want. The glue is nice and clear, so you won't have any discoloration in your LEDs as if you would with these brownish, yellowish sticks. And just glue the other side here. There we go. And then just connect the battery. And there we have a nice lit up Genji visor. And that is pretty. There we go. So that's it for this little video showcasing what you can do with some Dremel tools to aid in your cosplay making. These aren't, of course, all the tools that Dremel have. They have much, much more, but their name is more than just a synonym for a multi-tool. So I hope you found this video useful, and the next time you're looking into buying some tools, please consider looking at what Dremel has to offer to aid in your cosplay making. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.